Hydroponic Garden Design Part 2. The hydroponic unit has a footprint of only 12 square feet, but we count an additional 3 feet of walkway, so the unit and the walkway combined is 48 square feet. We mentioned earlier that the income for each hydroponic unit is a theoretical $43,000 annually. Now divide the income of $43,000 per unit by the 48 square feet and you get $918 of income for each square foot of hydroponic unit. Each square foot produces $918 of income, and we're counting the walkway, which is not really necessary if your units are on rollers and you can move them out for servicing and put lights in between the units. They move also for picking the produce. There is a parcel like mine, 1.25 acres, for sale in Arizona for $14,000. That comes out to just 32 cents per square foot. If the income on a single hydroponic unit is $918 per square foot and the land costs 32 cents per square foot, that's 2,868 times the value of the land. When you get back a theoretical $918 per square foot and land costs only 32 cents per square foot, it shows that land offered is more valuable than the seller's asking price with this hydroponic unit. This hydroponic unit makes land more valuable. If you know how to use the land to its highest and best use, you might be able to buy a lot of land, produce a lot of value with it, and have it paid for in no time. This system can be way off on the estimates and still be viable because $918 divided by 32 cents is 2,868. Divide a year into 2,868 parts to see how long it takes for the hydroponic unit to buy the land. The unit pays for the land on the first day of the first year, and everything you make after that is pure profit for the rest of your life. It only takes about 1/7 of that first day, actually. So you have an early lunch on the day of the purchase of the land. After lunch, you head over to the escrow company and sign papers to buy the land. It's noon, and before you can have dinner on that same day, your hydroponic unit has paid off the land. At about 3:30 p.m. on the day you bought it, the land is free and clear. It's theoretical, but it's the best record I've ever heard of in real estate, and it beats owning apartments, which take about 30 years to pay off the property. No evictions, no late payments, no loud tenants, and no bugs. No roof repairs, no lawsuits. The business is capital intensive, so you have to build one hydroponic unit and put all profits back in to buy more units. If you have $43,000 from one unit and you reinvest it, you have enough money to build 70 more units. Is that fast enough growth? At the end of 5 years, you could have 24 million of these units, which cost you only $600 for the first one. All others were paid for with the profits from the first hydroponic unit. So if it makes sense from a theoretical point of view, let's take a look at the science that gets us there. Lighting is something which needs to be understood. Plants don't need the entire electromagnetic spectrum. In the beginning, they need the blue end. Think beginning, blue. Later, they need red. Red light has the longest wavelength, and this promotes fruiting and flowering. Take a look at the absorption diagram. Notice that the plant is using a lot of blue light and a lot of red light, but not much in the green and yellow. Plants reflect green and yellow, and what do we see? We see green and yellow. That means it's lunchtime. Let's go over and have some squash and broccoli. The wavelength of light in nanometers, a billionth of a meter, is the x-axis, and the y-axis is the absorption percentage in the process of photosynthesis. Photosynthesis is the opposite of respiration. The plant takes in water, nutrients, carbon dioxide, and light, and makes food, expelling oxygen. We eat plants, breathe in oxygen, and burn the sugars in our food. This gives us nutrients and energy. The process is respiration. Do you see how they are opposites? For plants, it's carbon dioxide in and oxygen out. For us, it's oxygen in and carbon dioxide out. They make the food, and we eat the food. Plants don't see the world as we do. Plants favor blues and reds, and we like greens and yellows. Sunlight has far too much of the electromagnetic spectrum, and plants sometimes grow in spite of sunlight, being harmed more than they are nourished by a desert sun. So cooler areas are a little easier on the plant. California and other coastal areas have an advantage over Arizona. We have the most extreme temperatures here in the Phoenix-Tucson area. Plants bake in the desert, so there are few that can survive other than cactus and some scraggly bushes and leafless trees like the Palo Verde. The ocean off the coast of California is about 55 degrees Fahrenheit year-round. When the desert is 116 degrees Fahrenheit, the seashore is a cool 80 degrees up until about 11 a.m., and then the winds begin to shift, hot desert air rises, and pulls in cool ocean air over the land. In winter, when it's 20 degrees Fahrenheit in the desert, the seashore is about 45 or 50. The desert is below freezing, and the seashore is above freezing. Big difference. At 20 degrees, plants can freeze to death. In winter, the sea temperatures buffer the cold by making it warmer. The sea buffers the hottest days by making it cooler. Whatever we can do here in Phoenix, you can do in a more moderate zone much better, I think. That's if you're outdoors, and that's not the only possibility. Here in Arizona, my garden pots get dried out, but when I lived in Torrance, California, I grew lettuce under direct sunlight with very little water. I tried that here, and the plants got burned up by the sun. The sun is so intense here, and it's so very dry. The best environment is a controlled environment like a shopping center. When you grow crops right there, how much are your transportation costs? Zip, nada, zilch. Cotton grows very well here in winter, and the farmers have plenty of water to irrigate the fields. They waste water, I think, because they pour it on the ground by the millions of gallons, and it just goes down to the water table or evaporates. This is quite unnecessary. All you need to grow things are warmth, light, nutrients, and the proper pH. This can be done indoors, in a garage to start, or it can be done in a California backyard, where you have the ocean to buffer the heat and cold, if one is a few miles from the sea. You have humidity that gives you relief from the desiccating sun. Whatever I can do here, you can do much easier there in California, and if someone takes it inside, even Alaska is good if you have heat, electricity, and foot traffic to buy the produce. Shopping centers are ideal places for this idea. If retail space was used in shopping centers, that space might be had for pennies on the dollar, since all shopping centers have a vacancy rate of 30 to 50%. That owner has to make a huge mortgage payment. Why don't you talk to some leasing agents and tell them your idea? They might cut you a deal of no rent for a year. Don't go into mass production, though, until you prove this on a small scale like a garage. In a shopping center, you have millions of square feet of space that is underutilized and has no income for the center owners. Why don't you put the hydroponic units in, 4 times as dense as I recommended, and put in just one 3-foot row at the end for walking, and put all the hydroponic units on rollers so you can roll one unit over to pick, and then move the light and pick the next row, and then move that row over to get close to the light again. This could quadruple the production. If you used lights instead of sunshine, you could also go to a height of 12 feet and double the production again. How much wind do you experience in a shopping center? What's double times quadruple? 8 times more than $40 million? Is the real potential of this about $320 million per acre annually? Nobody knows until a test is conducted. You and others are the pioneers of this concept. We should form a club so that participants around the globe can compare ideas and share the contributions of thinking people everywhere. Remember, with 3 feet of walking space and only 6 feet in height, using sunlight, each one of these units has a theoretical yield of $918 per square foot, so paying a shopping center even $10 per square foot per month is no problem. But I don't think that a shopping center needs $10 per square foot in order to survive. This highly productive system can generate enough revenues to save the shopping center from foreclosure. We have not had a commercial real estate crash, but I think it's coming soon. This is the answer, and all you need to do is start talking to those who have retail space. Retail space is special because of the foot traffic and the high vacancy rates at present. If you sell tomatoes at half the grocery store prices, you're going to increase the foot traffic for all the stores in the shopping center, and the owner can make a recovery perhaps. In a shopping center, you can rent adjacent stores and sell cucumbers and Swiss chard at one store and peppers and tomatoes at the next, all with very attractive prices since there's no transportation costs. If 90% of the cost of produce is transportation cost, how much can you sell the produce for if there's no trucking involved? The math suggests that you can shave off 80% of the retail price and make twice as much as the grower who ships the produce a long distance. How much spoilage do you have if you pick it when it's most delicious? How much bruising will there be if the produce is not trucked? Order a salad in a restaurant and they want $4 or $5 for lettuce, tomato, vinegar, and oil. I say sell a salad for $1 and serve 2 customers with a single head of lettuce and a single tomato. And this way you get 50 cents for the half head of lettuce and 50 cents for the half tomato, and everyone goes home contented. Would you stop for a healthy meal if $1 was it? Total price. I think many would. We are in a deep depression, and there must be a response to it by all. Shopping centers which used to support stores that charge too much for too little have failed because they didn't adjust to the times. A salad with tomato, vinegar, oil, and lettuce makes sense for all at $1. 3 slices of a cucumber and the customer will be in heaven. How many customers can you serve with 1 cucumber? Slice up a radish and distribute it over 3 salads. It doesn't cost that much. Maybe your customer bought cheese at the grocery store and wants to put some Munster cheese on the salad or some feta cheese. Who's going to stop them? You can set up a salad bar and let them take what they want. Without transportation costs, all your produce costs 90% less. I'm sure this idea makes total sense, and we need to get started. And you get $918 of income for each square foot of hydroponic unit. Each square foot produces $918 of income, and we're counting the walkway, which is not really necessary if your units are on rollers and you can move them out for servicing and put lights in between the units. They move also for picking the produce. There is a parcel like mine, 1.25 acres, for sale. Hydroponic Garden Design Part 2. The hydroponic unit has a footprint of only 12 square feet, but we count an additional 3 feet of walkway, so the unit and the walkway combined is 48 square feet. We mentioned earlier that the income for each hydroponic unit is a theoretical $43,000 annually. Now divide the income of $43,000 per unit by the 48 square feet, 68. Divide a year into 2,868 parts, to see how long it takes for the hydroponic unit to buy the land. The unit pays for the land on the first day of the first year, and everything you make after that is pure profit for the rest of your life. It only takes about 1/7 of that first day, actually. So you have an early lunch on the day of the purchase of the land. After lunch, you head over to the escrow company and sign in Arizona for $14,000. That comes out to just 32 cents per square foot. If the income on a single hydroponic unit is $918 per square foot and the land costs 32 cents per square foot, that's 2,868 times the value of the land. When you get back a theoretical $918 per square foot and land costs only 32 cents per square foot, it shows that land offered is more valuable than the seller's asking price with this hydroponic unit. This hydroponic unit makes land more valuable. If you know how to use the land to its highest and best use, you might be able to buy a lot of land, produce a lot of value with it, and have it paid for in no time. This system can be way off on the estimates and still be viable because $918 divided by 32 cents is $2,806.